Bangalore, India, for those of you abroad. And well, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here. And I just wanted to say we appreciate the fact that you've taken some time out of your schedule to be here with us for today and for the next hour and 15 minutes, which I'm sure that you shall all thoroughly enjoy. Before we jump right in, I just wanted to get to a couple minor details. So given that we are operating on the Zoom platform and on devices, we might experience a few technical lags here and there. In case we do, please do bear with us. And we do have a great technical team behind us, so issues shouldn't persist for long. In the case that you do experience any issues, technical lags and hitches on your side, please do log out and log back in, and hopefully that should sort things out. Yeah, the event will also be live streamed on YouTube on the Oasis International School channel, and the link, you will find that on the Zoom chat, in the section of the Zoom chat. In case you do have anyone interested and wanting to see it during the course of the event, please do feel free to direct them to the link and the YouTube channel. Given the nature of the topics of today's discussion, which I am sure everybody will have something to say and share and thoughts to give out, we'd really appreciate it if you can just put them into the Zoom chat section of this webinar. And in case you do have any questions, which we shall look forward to answering, please do use the Q&A feature available. Now that that's out the way, let's dive straight into it. The very pressing question that you guys have been having, I'm sure, for this evening is, what is Eunoia? Well, Eunoia, the word itself, it's an ancient Greek word with the meaning well-minded and goodwill. So this is speaking in terms of a connection between the speaker and the audience. And in this scenario, what we hope to achieve is through this understanding between ourselves, the speakers, and you, our viewers, we hope to bring an awareness on some of the struggles that women within our country, India, face on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis. Speaking in terms of political, social, and economic terms. And now I shall ask you to sit back, relax, grab a cup of coffee or tea, for those of you who prefer that, or if you're from England. And I shall introduce to you today our first inaugural speaker, Ms. Lata Balan, a trained special educator who holds a postgraduate degree in English literature and a postgraduate degree in education from Oxford Brookes University, who has also pursued her passion for learning and teaching across the globe in countries such as New Zealand, Australia, and in the far Middle East. And she is also one of the nicest people I know. And well, she is none other than our very own school principal of Oasis International School. So, ma'am, it's an absolute pleasure to hand it over to you. The screen is yours.
Thank you very much, Vignesh. Good evening, delegates, students, and honored guests. It's with great pride and tremendous sense of honor that I speak before you at the opening of the first conference of the Oasis Mun Society. Munning has become a symbol at our school for which we believe is right about today and what we hope for tomorrow. Though supported to a small degree by adults, this event was envisioned and created by a group of students from grade 9 to 12, spearheaded by Vignesh and supported by one of our alumni, Chirag. Our student leaders have worked very hard to ensure an excellent conference for all the delegates, and I'm confident that this is what you will experience. At its core, this conference is not just about Model United Nations. It's about the immense capacity of youth. More specifically, it is a clear demonstration of the transformative power of the students. At Oasis, our vision is to nurture responsible and responsive individuals who will contribute positively to society. Through this endeavor, we are on the road to fulfilling these dreams. We want all of you taking part in this conference and the coming months organized to become the voice of the voiceless masses around you. Thank you, Oasis Mun team, for the great work you have put in to start the society and to prepare for this day. You make the school proud. The very first conference is about women's empowerment or equality for women. This is very evident in our school as it was envisioned by a group of women 21 years ago and also managed by a group of women. Women play a very important role in society. They play the role of mother, wife, homemaker, cook, teacher, friend, nurse, all at the same time while catering to everybody's needs. A multitasker who often goes unappreciated. Why? The reasons are innumerable and will be touched upon by all the delegates in their speeches. But the underlying reason is gender equality, which has been ingrained in all societies of the world because of patriarchy. The true meaning of women's empowerment will be achieved when gender equality is eliminated. When our men become the champion for women's causes, women will become truly emancipated. Women need to be respected, and we need to create a world where they can walk without fear at any time, at any place. We hope with youngsters who can come together and find solutions through constructive debate, we will be able to build a happier world where all humans are equal, irrespective of gender, caste, or creed. I sincerely hope this event will help you take action as global citizens, leading to a fair and just society for the future of humanity. Thank you and welcome to everyone to this wonderful conference.
Thank you, ma'am, for your rather thoughtful and I must say quite inspirational words. They were quite changed in working. I shall now move on to our next inaugural speaker for the day, who hails from ActionAid India. So ActionAid India is our very proud partner in this webinar, and they're an organization working for social and ecological justice. ActionAid has been engaged with the most marginalized of communities in India since 1972. Together with supporters, communities, institutions, and governments, they strive for equality, fraternity, and liberty for all. Ms. Getsi, our representative from ActionAid India, will be our speaker for the day. She is a trained graduate in English in her pursuit to work towards the welfare of children and women within our society. She has worked for more than 25 years in the social development sector. She currently works with ActionAid India as a program manager in the sponsorship unit and fundraising, and she also helps with fundraising communications, and she is also our speaker for the day. Ms. Getsi, thank you so much for being here with us today. The screen is yours.
Thank you, sir, students. I'm really excited to present here. First of all, I want to congratulate you for making this a beautiful, special event. And I congratulate all the team members and event organizers. Yeah, now we will go to the presentation. I hope you can see my screen, right? Yeah. I'm going to talk more about what ActionAid how ActionAid responds to women rights globally. And my focus for today's discussion will be with specific to Indian context. Yeah. Before that, I just want to give a small introduction about ActionAid Association. ActionAid Association is a part of a global federation and a full affiliate of ActionAid International. And ActionAid is present in more than 40 countries. In India, we started to work from 1972 onwards, and from the beginning of our interventions in India, our focus has been on the poor and the most excluded communities. So in 2006, we registered as an Indian organization called ActionAid Association. And currently we work in 24 states and 2 union territories. And to talk about our vision, yeah, we want to see a world without poverty, patriarchy, and injustice, and everyone enjoys the right to life with dignity. And our mission for this strategic period is to work in solidarity with the poor and excluded and participate in their struggle to eradicate poverty, patriarchy, and injustice. So now I want to share with you a short journey how our approach evolved from our experience. In 1970s, we started with charity and welfare, where we were supporting children's education, health programs, like that. We were doing only charity-based work. And in 1980s, again, it is an extension of our welfare-based work, where we were meeting the basic needs of the communities we are working with, that is building schools, giving farm equipments to community members. Like that, we were doing service-driven work at that period. And over the period, we learned that in the past, these 2 decades, we were working where the decision making is done by us. We were giving what we want to give to the communities. Then we realized that it is not so. We should ask the communities to decide what they want. So that's how we started in 1990s, the empowerment of communities, where we were interacting with them, analyzing their issues, and we want them to give what they want. Then in that case also, it's more or less service deliveries only. Again, we were not training them in farming or the students' education, and also the livelihood of the communities. So it is again more or less no service driven, but a bit of capacity building. Trainings were given to communities for sustainable development. And in the late 90s, we realized that to tackle poverty, to tackle injustice, this is not enough. And late 90s, we started to work for the rights of the people. That's how we fully established with human rights-based approach. We call it HRBA in 2000 onwards. And this HRBA, again, we work on 3 pillars. The first one is the empowerment of communities. Empowerment of communities includes some part of service deliveries, because if people are dying out of hunger, they need immediate support. So some part of service delivery will be there, and also trainings will be provided, and the communities are made aware of their rights, because in India we have beautiful constitutional rights for all people, the equal rights for all. So to make them aware of their rights, we do this empowerment phase of work. And another pillar we want to discuss with you is the campaigning part. In this campaigning part, once we work with the communities and once they realize the issues or the core problems that are affecting them, then we take those issues from the community to other platforms so that we can raise voices about that issue, so that we can bring changes in the policies or in laws, enactment of acts, also communication, advocacy, all come into play in this campaigning mode. Then the third pillar is the solidarity part. Here, all like-minded individuals, community members, and even the donors, we call everyone together, and we will work for the rights of these excluded communities, because their power and their voice was very feeble, less in the larger forum. So we raise our voice for this community. That's where the solidarity pillar comes. In all these pillars, we have another pillar. Now in the latest strategy, we have come up with another pillar called rights-based alternatives, because raising the voices, identifying the problems is not enough. We need to find alternative solutions, and we need to tackle poverty, and we need to challenge patriarchy and injustice, and come up with alternative solutions, so that the people can enjoy their life, they can come out of poverty, and they can live a life with dignity. So in all these things, we center people, that the people who are denied of their rights, people who are voiceless, people who have less power, or people, powerless people, these people are our center of our workers, center of our focus in whatever we do, whatever activity, program, event, or campaign, anything we do, our focus, our central focus will be on these people. And we now know, we also realize the power is playing at different levels, from the birth, from in the family, in the society, neighborhood, state, everywhere the power plays, which again oppress these excluded communities, especially women and children. So analyzing the power structures and challenging the power structures and shifting these power structures to people's hand, that is our another focus. That is the major focus, I would say. So people and shifting the power to people's hand, that is the central focus of all our activities. And with this, I want to show a small video. I don't want to talk about this women rights and women, status of women in India, because I understand some of our participants, they are going to discuss in detail about this. And at that point of time, I would add, if anything is missed out, I can add. Otherwise, I want to go with a success story where ActionAid India, applying these three pillars, how we empowered a community in the state of Karnataka. And this community, Koraga community, tribal community, and this Koraga Federation recently won the World Habitat Award for their great work. And ActionAid and our partner organization, SGA, actually, we worked with them for more than 10 years, and we helped them to come up to this level. And we are very proud and happy to share in their success. I just want to play a small video.
Getsi ma'am, I request you to stop your share and reshare the video.
Sorry, I'm
No
sorry.
worries. Yes, sure. Are you able to play the video, ma'am? Ma'am, you're muted.
I believe we are having a couple technical lags there. We apologize for the technical difficulties, but I do believe we should proceed. So thank you so much, Ms. Getzi. We thank you for your presentation on what ActionAid is all about. It was quite the inspirational thing to hear from you, and of the many endeavors that and programs that ActionAid has undertaken in the past. The meaningful difference that ActionAid has brought to our country was quite inspirational. And it has been very much so aligned with what Eunoia is all about. In Eunoia, we want to raise an awareness. We want to speak out for those voiceless, as you had mentioned. And we want to follow suit in some of the actions that ActionAid has taken over in the past. Thus, we hope to invoke an awareness through this webinar. And once again, ma'am, thank you so much for being here with us today. We hope to hear from you later on. We will be moving on now. And I think that will be all from our inaugural speakers for the day. It is now my pleasure to hand it over to our moderators for the day, Zena Karam and Hafsa Hanan. So guys, the stage, or should I say the screen, is yours.
Thank you, Vignesh. Good evening to everyone present here. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here today. I am Zaina Khurram, the student vice president of the Oman Society, and I will be your moderator for this evening along with Hafsa Hanan. So as discussed before, our topic today will be based on that of women empowerment in terms of social, political, and economic factors. And as a member of the Oasis Model United Nations Society, I especially enjoy participating in the Committee on the Status of Women. This topic especially is very you can say near and dear to my heart, as whether it be me wearing the hijab uh, or playing football, which is considered to be a men's sport. I by default become a prey to stereotype of subjugation and oppression, and I simply enjoy breaking it every time. I choose to wear the hijab, I choose to play football, and I believe that women being equal to men is not enough because of the potential responsibilities that she carries to contribute to the world. And I strongly believe that if every woman is given the right she deserves, the world would definitely be a heavenly abode. So I would like to now hand it over to our next moderator for this evening, Hafsa Hanan. She is active member of the Oman Society and a very bright student, and she too loves reading and learning about women empowerment. So over to you, Hafsa.
Thank you, Zana. Good evening, everyone. I am Hafsa Hanan, your moderator for the evening along with Zana. It is an absolute pleasure to have you here. I have studied in Oasis International School since I was in kindergarten, and that is why I call Oasis my second home. Today's topic is vast, and I'm looking forward to hearing from everyone. So, Zana, how excited are you for this evening?
Oh yes, very, very. So I think it's been a few weeks now since I've been looking forward to this event, and I very much look forward to a fruitful discussion. So what about you? What's running through your head?
Well, I am very excited as well, considering this is the first ever event that the Omen Society is launching. And I hope our audience has been having a great day and that this discussion will make it better. So without further ado, shall we introduce our participants, Anna?
Yes, definitely. So we have for our uh, event, we've had four participants from all over India. Our first participant is Shloka Reddy, who is very much into taking part in debates and Model United Nations conferences, and she believes that understanding has a bigger impact than speaking. So, Shloka, would you like to go ahead and say a few more things about yourself?
Yeah,
Shloka.
hello everyone. So I've been debating since I was in fourth grade. So, and also it's something which I got used to. And why I believe that listening is more important sometimes than speaking is because a lot of times, especially when you debate a lot, you come across opponents or judges or even fellow debaters who would speak and they would bring up valuable points, but they would speak and they would refuse to understand the other perspective. And when someone is looking for development, I think the only way that a process can move forward or a society can develop is by having certain adjustments made or even by understanding different perspectives. And I think for now, even though there are a lot of things to change, I think India has come quite far compared to what it was. And although there is a lot more that we can do as a society, and there is a lot more left to change.
Thank you, Shloka. It was wonderful to hear from you. So, our next second participant for this evening would be Kushi. So, she is a student of National Public School, and she's very enthusiastic about astrobiology, environmental biology, and human rights. And she also loves to keep up with the latest music and pop culture. So, Kushi, would you like to tell us a few more things about yourself?
Hello, everyone. It's actually wonderful to see so many people here to listen to what me and the other speakers here have to say today. And I think if I can change the mindset of just one person today and bring about awareness in just one person, I think I've served the entire purpose of participating in today's event. I agreed to speak here today because these issues need to be heard, and they need many people need to know about these issues and their struggles. I also believe in equality, that for men, for women, and everyone who is part of our society. And I look forward to having a productive session.
Thank you, Khushi. We also have Kyra joining us. She is studying in Kunskapsskolan and she is very enthusiastic about politics. So, Kyra, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience?
Yeah, hello, I'm Kara. I'm in ninth grade, and as she said, I am very interested in politics. I like knowing the current affairs of what's going on everywhere, it doesn't matter where it is. And today I am really hoping to put my message forward and try to just push towards the next step in achieving gender equality. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kara. And last but not least, we have Aman joining us. He is studying in Greenwood High and he's also very, very enthusiastic about current affairs. Aman, would you like to tell us a few things about yourself?
Hi, I'm Aman, and I'm from Greenwood. As she said, I'm in 11th grade, and this debate, this discussion that we're going to have today is of a pretty important topic right now, especially with how COVID is taking the society by storm and how these issues have been put more into the spotlight. And I feel like if a productive discussion today would show people that how important these issues are in society and how we can find possible ways to remedy them.
Yeah, thank you, Amma. It was very nice to hear from you. So now I think we're all set, and we can move into our discussion. So, Kyra, like you said, you were very much into politics, right? And given the topic for discussion today and where women stand in politics in India, and yes, our country talks a lot about equality and women's right, but we still, you could say, haven't reached the mark where women can unhesitantly take part in politics. So, keeping this in mind, what do you think, and what's the main thing? What are the main few things that obstruct women from doing so? Meaning from developing their careers as major politicians in India?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And there are actually a lot of barriers women face when developing a career in politics. And the main one being social and cultural barriers, especially in today's world or just the world we've grown up in. There are these persisting gender roles. Certain features of gender have proven resistant to feminist critique over the past few decades, including the association of masculinity with leadership and femininity with weakness. Although recent discussion of transformational leadership has begun to help us appreciate the advantages of non-traditional approaches, implicit biases, especially activated in the context of crisis, lead to suspicion that women are not strong enough to be political leaders. A lack of women in high power positions may affect both men and women's perceptions of women's ability to rule. This added to the fact that there's this social mentality that women are supposed to devote more time towards family work, and which leads to more time constraints. It is much harder for women to develop a career in politics than men. Um, about family work and time constraints. So there's this continuing uneven distribution of family care responsibilities in any household, especially in still developing countries like India, which means that women spend far more time than men at home doing childcare. And this isn't something we've made up. Studies repeatedly demonstrate that women pay a motherhood penalty across fields, relating not just to the time, effort, and medical care of pregnancy and childbirth, but to the far greater maternal involvement necessary for breastfeeding and to the persistent tendency of women to do a larger share of childcare as the child grows. Not only this, but a large part of politics includes campaign funding, and generally, when money dominates politics, women lose out even more. With women having persistently lower incomes for many reasons, including the gender gap in pay, occupational segregation, disproportionate unpaid family care, and the frequent unwillingness to face the social consequences of pushing for higher salaries or promotions. And with the social and business interaction proceeding heavily along gendered lines, women are far less likely than men to be in the social and business networks that pour money into political campaigns. And this,
Yeah, like you said, I mean, I really like the point you put across when you talked
yeah,
about the problem of women again not having the backup when income backup when it comes to politics, and that seems to be like a major problem when you think about it. Like when you think male politicians can go out and campaign and do so much, when women are restricted, making it a downside for them. So yeah, would you like to add would you like to add anything onto that?
no, it's just that women candidates do not receive pay. I mean, not most political candidates do not receive pay or benefits until after they are elected. And this is even worse on women since they are already at a disadvantage um, when it comes to the financial point of view. So this might be another reason women feel less encouraged to go into the political spheres.
Yeah, and yeah, you're
And
right. And even when they get into the political system, the road is not very easy. Again,
yeah,
combating stereotypes in the political system, which is currently male dominated. So
yeah. Yeah, and all
yeah,
of this is a huge part of political culture. And today's political culture is so that political discourse and electoral campaigns have grown extremely negative, acrimonious, and all too often uncivil. And while acrimony and incivility seem to turn off most citizens and turn away good potential candidates of all genders and colors, it seems to affect women more than men and women of color most of all.
yeah. Yeah, I completely agree with what you're saying. And even when you talk, when like how you said, of course you mentioned a lot of barriers, but I think another barrier that comes into play is, of course, in India, it would be corruption and inequality, and it is really one of them that it does play a very major contributing factor and acts as one of the major barriers. So in this case, what role among would you like to specify? I mean, talk about what role does it play? I mean, what is the role of corruption and inequality in Indian political system?
Your voice broke off towards the end. I'm not sure.
So okay, sorry, my bad. I was saying, what do you think the role of corruption plays in the Indian political system where there is a lack of women?
So, first of all, I'd like to mention how important it is, how much of a role women could play in the Indian political system, because the population of India is so much. So if you take the 2015 elections as like a standard standpoint, you could see that there were 20 million missing women from the voters list. So and that translates to about 38,000 women voters in every constituency on an average. And in states like Uttar Pradesh, which is like a bellwether state in India, the figure was almost about 80,000 women. And if you take into consideration that one in every five seats is won or lost by a margin of 38,000 votes, you could see that these missing women on the voters list could easily swing the results of the elections. And I feel like one of the main reasons why women don't take part in these political systems is because of the social stigma that's around women from entering this. Because there was an many Indians, at least in the rural areas, feel that registering their daughters for a voting list or like to enter into politics because would harm them, because they would have to reveal a lot about a woman herself, including her age, and they feel like this would end up hurting their prospects for marriage, because in India the dowry system, even though it was made illegal, it's still a big factor for a lot of families to take into consideration. um, and if you take into like many patriarchal through the decades, many patriarchal views against in towards India's gender bias have existed. So it has a lot to do with that. When growing up, at least in schools, men are given more authority because they feel like because they feel like the way the system is grown up is that if you continue, you cannot get more, you can get more work out of men than women, which is a wrong thought process to begin with. But I feel like, but this is the thought process that many are brought up with. So and this generally discourages women from taking part in such a political system where they're anyways discouraged to begin with. And I feel like these are one of the few problems that could take place, that could take that are the reason for women not taking part in a political system like in India, because of the social stigma that's around women taking part. And they feel like in the sex ratio of a constituency, if the number of women are much higher than the number of, if the number of men are much higher than the number of women, the preference of women voters, or like the preference of what a female wants in that constituency, is more likely to be ignored because of how the constituency is more favored towards men than women.
Yes, thank you very much, Aman. I do agree with what you're saying. And since we are talking about women in leadership positions as well, let's look back in history. Women in India became politically active in 1889 when some elite women started to attend meetings of the Indian National Congress. Since then, they have begun schools and they have also raised awareness against child marriage and parda, which is basically the seclusion of women. So, Khushi, what do you think is the extent of power that women in these decision-making positions hold in today's norm?
Okay. So women don't get the same power. They do get the power, but they don't get the same power or hold as to say in making parliamentary decisions as men, not only in India, but across nations. And although the participation of women has been improving over the years in the political world, the rate at it's going, it's not enough. Women constitute about half the population, and very much less than a quarter of them account for parliamentary positions. Last year in India, Lok Sabha members, these were the statistics that only 14.4% of them were women representatives. And in the Rajya Sabha, only 10.3% of them were women representatives. That's only 25 members out of 240 members. These numbers need to climb higher for the betterment of our society. And also equal, why do we need the equal participation of both of them, of both men and women? It's because when all citizens get to say or make parliamentary decisions, it ensures equality and assurement for all the sectors of society, be it women or those who just represent as women or identify as women. That's why women participation is very important in democracy and democratic processes, as it also breaks the cycle and chain of male dominance and male superiority.
Yes, thank you, Kushi. I do agree with the points you've raised on why women and men should have equal participation.
Yeah, I think we have a question. Kushi, would you like to answer that too? Uh, Rabia B asked, how can we change this perspective about gender roles, which is one of the main cause of discrimination against women?
Sure. So we all know that gender roles can affect how the society views women particularly, and one of them we can eradicate this by oh, it just popped out. Okay. Yeah. So one second. Yeah, I'm so sorry about that. Okay, so we can probably eradicate and bring out the we first have to demolish the thought or the belief of men being superior than women. Whatever men can do, I think women can do the same. And how can we do this? The government must bring in campaigns and workshops and educate the people of the country that women can do the same as men, and we women also deserve to voice out, and they also have a say in parliamentary decisions and any, not just parliamentary and political decisions, but just generally.
Yes, to add on to that, like you said, I mean, I completely agree. Liberalization stands right next to equality when it comes to things like this. And also, another way we can do is, first of all, combat this common stereotypes our world we are living in today.
And
So
I think also equity comes over equality, because
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yes, thank you, Khushi. And since we were talking about inequality and corruptions, another topic that comes under political aspects would be voter suppression, especially now where the Dalit women are seen as inferior. The Dalit community are often referred to as the untouchables or the outcasts of the society. And women in these communities face a lot more discrimination for three reasons. One, them being poor. Second, them being women. And just because they are part of the Dalit community. So, Shloka, would you like to outline the impacts of voter suppression on women from minor communities like the Dalit women?
Yeah. So getting to that, can you guys hear me? I think I just
Yeah,
froze.
we can hear you.
Okay. So speaking about the Dalit community, the caste system is another major issue to be, I mean, which should be eradicated. Even though it's illegal, people still follow it, and the discrimination is really high. And especially the Dalit community support is literally called, also known as the untouchable community sometimes, which is really offensive. And more than the men of the Dalit community, the women face even more because there is a very popular belief that men are superior than women, no matter what. And especially when the Dalit community is quite huge, especially in India. When you calculate, as Aman said, there are a lot of voters who didn't exactly vote, and majority of them are women, right? So every time a voter is suppressed, we should understand that each vote could play a major role in every election because every vote matters. And the reason of why they are being suppressed is something that I believe has to do with the mindset of the people, and I don't believe that it's a personal choice because a vote is almost, it's like a basic right? It's almost like a basic right given to every citizen, and the fact that women are deprived of it is just disheartening and something which is supposed to be a huger issue than what a lot of people make it out to be, because people believe that at least the few people who I have met till now, a lot of people don't think that voting should be considered. I mean, deprivation of a vote should be equal to not giving to not giving a person human rights. But I think that voting is a fundamental right which should be given to every citizen, and if it's not, that is something which would impact the country in many more ways than just a less vote count, because every vote matters.
Yes, like you said, I mean, yeah, like how you said, like whether it be voting or whether it be taking part in politics, yes, yes, I think women are very much needed in the political system because we know that they have the potential to bring the change we need in the society, and I think that they have they can make an impact on outcomes for women and children, especially in distributing of community resources. So yeah, and you spoke a lot about problem with Dalit women is of course a social problem, right? And of course a lot, it is one of the stereotypes, social stereotypes that we need to combat, and it is very much agreeable, and a lot of reasons you mentioned about political suppression. So like for social issues like in India, uh, the femicide rates as well are amongst the top 5 in the world. And I remember when I was reading an article about this, it said that 21% of girls between the ages 1 to 5 don't live to see themselves turn 6 years old, and that is very sad when you think about it. And so, would you like to Aman, would you like to tell us, like, why do you think India is in such a vulnerable state? What makes it so vulnerable to this issue?
If, first of, I would like to add, from apart from what she said, I would also like to add that when Dalit women are elected as representatives in the panchayat, the government, the government officers try to make it extremely difficult for them to stay in that position. They always face a delay in the implementation of schemes despite repeated requests of the women, and this is another big problem that these Dalit women face while trying to combat their particular issues in their particular constituencies. But while moving on to the reasons for femicide, one of the major reasons, especially in India, is extreme poverty. Because India has such high poverty rates, there's an inability to afford raising a child in India. Poverty has been seen as a major reason of high infanticide rates, even through various times in history where England and France and Germany have had difficult times. Femicide rates have always been really high. Another reason in India, at least in India, for femicide is the dowry system. Even though India has taken many steps to abolish the dowry system, the practice still persists, especially among the poorer families in rural regions in India. They feel like if they were to raise a female child, they would not have the suitable dowry and thus be socially ostracized from society. This and dowry again being such a big player in the rural areas, it's really it's really sad to see that even in 2020 dowry is such a big reason for people femicide hello, am I audible?
Yes, go on, Aman. We
Oh,
can hear
I'm
you.
really sorry. So it's sad to see that dowry even in 2020 is still such a big reason for femicide to be taking place. If I were to add on another reason for femicide include that a lot of children are conceived after rape or even like because of the lack of sexual education in the country, a lot of poor families in rural areas tend to have a lot of children which are unwanted. Some are even born deformed to impoverished families. These families feel that if they were to raise a child like this, they would be ostracized from society because they won't be able to marry them off, and thus mothers lacking reliable, safe, and affordable birth control. A lot of children are bound to be born in India, and poor families feel like they cannot take on the responsibility take on the responsibility of raising a female child because of the consequences it brings later on in life.
Yes, Aman, thank you very much. The points that you've told are very relevant. And now, another social problem that we face, that women are facing in India today, is domestic violence. And domestic violence has been the reports of domestic violence have been rising alarmingly um, since the COVID pandemic has broken out, and we this is a really disheartening situation that we're going through. So, Shukla, would you like to talk about the impacts of domestic violence have on women?
Okay, yeah. So domestic violence, it is a very grave issue because one, it's not just physical, two, because it's mental. For example, like domestic violence has two impacts. That is one on the body, like homicide, a person could literally get killed or serious injuries and things like that. But the emotional part of it, that is a way of suppressing a person. It's almost like they are beaten up for being themselves, or they are harmed for being themselves, or being born in as a person who they are. And that is something they did not choose, right? They did not choose to be a girl or a boy. And a lot of children are verbally abused from a very young age. They're like, why would you have to be a girl? And one thing that they fail to understand is that it wasn't their decision, and being a girl is nothing less than being a boy. If and only if they're given the same opportunities, which they are not. The only reason why people believe that women are lower is because they are not given the opportunity to actually prove themselves. And speaking about emotional impact, domestic violence has really bad impact on a person's mental health because it causes depression. It can lead to underperformance, and when you're talking about domestic violence, it not only affects the person who is being beat up or being abused, but also the person who is witnessing it. Suppose a housewife is being beaten up by the husband, the children are also mentally affected because there could be two outcomes of this. One, they could grow up believing that it is okay to harm people like that, or it would scare them to actually be themselves or voice their thoughts. And both of these are really harmful for the future of our society. And these are really grave issues, and I'm really glad that these are being spoken about on this platform.
Yes, thank you, Shloka.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, the impact of it, yes, it has an impact, both like how you said, emotionally, of course, it's very devastating for a woman to go through such a traumatic experience. And even and we can clearly see gender equality at its peaks here. And I think it's, yeah, like you said, it's not okay for it to happen. And so, yeah, so moving on to like another place where we can very clearly see gender equality spark is that women are not paid as much as their male counterparts, even given that their workload and their quality workload and their work ethic is up to the same level of what men are doing. And so, do you think, Kyra, would you like to like uh, tell us about give us your opinion on what you think? Like, if do you think it is justified that just because women are do you think wage disparity is justified, assuming that women are not considered the breadwinners of their household?
Honestly, it's been a long time. It's although India is still a developing country, I'll give it that. But it's been a long time since we achieved our independence, and on our constitution, the right to equality grants that not only that all people should be considered equal regardless of their gender, but also that they should be, for example, hired regardless of their gender, or their opinions should be taken as seriously regardless of their gender. And I think this also accounts towards, I mean, this same concept should be applied towards the amount women and men are paid. Because if it was up to me, women and men would be paid the exact same amount. Because although we live in a society where men are still considered breadwinners and women are considered caregivers, um, it should never be socially acceptable for them to be paid less on behalf of that. In fact, if women are caregivers, they should be paid more, taking into account the fact that they're going to be spending time at home more often, or they're going to be taking care of domestic chores more often. So yeah, that's my view on the topic.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why we say being equal is not enough, right?
Yeah.
To back up your point.
Yeah.
Yes, I also agree with you, Kara. And we also have to keep in mind that many people believe that the gender wage gap is a workplace problem, but it is not just that, right? It is something that affects women um, in their life at home as well. We have women coming out and talking about how they feel less secure. So another economic issue would be the paid leave for early childcare. And India has a lot of rules in place for early childcare, and they recently even passed a bill increasing the leave period for to up to 26 weeks. But this benefit is only applicable to women who are working in a company with at least 10 employees. So, Khushi, do you think the Indian government is honoring the importance of early childcare by making provision for paid leave?
Okay. So in 2017, India released the Maternity Amendment Bill, stating that women who are carrying are advantaged of paid maternity leave for 12 to 26 weeks. Now, early childcare is essential as newborns are sensitive and require complete attention of the parents. And I also believe that they should be the priority for both the mother and father and not just the mother. Both parents should have equal responsibility in the early childcare of their children. And the government, I do believe the government is honoring it to a certain extent, but they must also bring in a better functioning system where both the parents are benefited equally, not just the father or not just the mother. And maternity leave and early childcare leave need more importance because we must put the child's life first as our first priority.
Yeah, like you said, I mean, of course, I completely agree about what you said, that the child comes first when it comes to a life like this, because again, the life goes on, but the when you have to take off, you have to, right? And that pay is important because it is going to be the first years of the child too, and when you think of it that way, it is very necessary.
And most people believe that if a couple has a have a child, that the mother must stop working and she has to stay back and take care of the child. But I don't believe that that should continue anymore, because the mother is just as good as the father in supporting the family, and both the mother and father should equally balance in taking care of their children.
Yeah, that is very, very true.
Yes, now we are reaching a point where we can conclude our event, and we have all our participants who have said their take on this issue.
Uh, yeah. So when we started off, right, where we said that we want to be the voice of the unheard, and I think we did that, and we reached where we wanted to, and I hope we can make a mark in the mind of our audience as well. And I think I really personally enjoyed the points Shloka put across. The points I enjoyed the most would probably be the points Shloka put across about the impact it has on women, and of course the last part where Khushi talked about, the child coming first. What about you, Hafsa? What did you personally like the most?
I also did thoroughly enjoy, especially points where which Kyra and Aman has brought to our notice. Kyra talked about the stereotypes, and Aman also explained to us why femicide is so prevalent in India.
Yes, and I think all the points were very well put across, and I think we achieved our goal of having a very fruitful discussion, and just just some food for thought. I would like to say, quoting Michelle Obama, she says that when women and girls rise, their communities and their countries rise with them. So
Yeah. I also have to bring this point up, that this is not where the discussion ends. We all, after we finish this discussion, we all, the audience and us as well, have to ponder about what we have talked in this discussion. And I think we have come to a point where we can hand this over to Vignesh. So Vignesh, over to you.
Thank you, Hafsa. That was, well, I must agree with you on the fact that a lot of the points brought up were quite well put. And I did thoroughly enjoy the discussion and food for thought. It was very interesting. And I did think that our audience will have a lot to think about after today's discussion. And some of the topics that were brought up were worth bringing to light, and it's high time that they are addressed and people know about them. So I think that you guys did a great job with it. So moving on, I just wanted to get back to the video that Miss Getsi was playing for us in the beginning. We did experience a slight technical lag at that point of time. So I was just wondering to see if Miss Getsi would be willing to play for us the video that she had wanted to play in the beginning of today's webinar.
Yes.
Getsi ma'am, I think our tech person Anju ma'am will be playing the video.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
sure.
I do believe our technical team is working on having the video put up for you guys to watch shortly.
While we're waiting for the video to be put up, Getsi ma'am, would you like to make any statements or have anything you'd like to say based on the discussion we were just part of? Oh, I see the video is up. Perhaps, yeah, we can. Yeah.
Yes. Hope you have seen the video. And I just want to add a few points here, because this whole community development is achieved because of gender equality. Right from the beginning, they used gender lens, gender equity, and gender equality in all their works. That is the thing. Now they are able to live a dignified life because of this. Giving women the power for decision, women to lead the movement, even to abolish this Ajalu practice, where the tribals were even now the practice is going on, but the community struggle to challenge this practice Ajalu, where the tribal community they were asked to eat rice with the fingernails and hair of the dominant caste people. But Karnataka government has come up with an abolishing act. So that is a great achievement because of these people's struggle that they have won. Now the law is made and implementation is to be made with continuous struggle. That's what I want to leave with you, because this development happened because of women in power in this community. When the program started, almost 80% of the women were malnourished. So they were given nutritious help and all. So then they started to claim their rights, and now they are now leading a very dignified life. And also I want to thank you all. it is so amazing that students like you talking about women and their struggles, and you have touched almost all the points, and kudos to you. And really I appreciate that you must have put a lot of efforts to come up with these ideas. And also I want to leave with you with that note, see everything around you, in your family, in your neighborhood, with your friends, in school, in every arena. See everything with the gender lens. You will find the gender inequalities in our society. When you analyze and when you can identify these issues, you will be able to find solutions also. So when you talked about Dalit communities, also remember the tribal communities, religious minorities, informal workers. In these sectors, women are still struggling even to make their livelihood. So with this note, I think you guys did a fantastic job. This awareness itself will bring a change in and around our society, and we need to come together to bring a change in the lives around us, especially among the this minority and marginalized communities, especially the women and children. And thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Getzi. They were quite the inspirational words that you put out there. I just wanted to say I would now like to propose a vote of thanks for making Eunoia possible. And I'd like to start with our school management for giving us the opportunity to be able to roll out Eunoia for your pleasure and your win. I would also like to thank the technical team that we had behind us, led by Anjum ma'am, for having this event run in a smooth and uneventful fashion. And also, I'd like to thank our inaugural speakers, Ms. Lata ma'am, and once again, Ms. Getzi, for being here with us and giving us your inspirational words and your take on this matter. And again, ActionAid, our partner in this event, we were immensely happy to be able to cooperate with you to bring about this awareness that we wanted to achieve, and also we wanted to thank you for being there to take up this initiative with us. I'd also like to thank our moderators for the day, Zena and Hafsa, who did a great job. I also wanted to thank our participants for once again supporting us in this initiative. And finally, I'd like to propose a vote of thanks to our viewers for being here with us today. You guys did an absolutely great job being here with us, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And finally, I'd just like to say, if you guys keep posted on future events like this that Oasis Model United Nations Society will have and Oasis International School will have, please do check out our social media, check us out on different social media platforms. We are up on Instagram, we are up on Facebook, we are up on Twitter. So please do go out and check us out there. And we also have a YouTube channel where you can go and watch this webinar if you do choose to. So thank you so much for being here with us today. I do believe that was quite the enjoyable event. And we are currently sitting at 6:15, and that is your hour and 15 minutes for the day. We hope you enjoy the rest of your evening, and I think that's a wrap. So that will be all from me, Vignesh Alagappa, your host for this evening. It was an absolute pleasure, and once again, thank you for being here with us. And out.